Welcome to a sparkling new podcast from Mike Parry and Mike Graham. We're the two Mikes.
Actually, it sounds even better when you do it Dullsville, because when you try to be happy and excited and energetic, you sound pathetic.
Thanks.
I think it's called The Man on the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Or The Man in the Moon, or The Moon Crescent, something like that.
Look at the light!
Michael Bolton. I didn't even know he sung songs, Michael Bolton.
What do you think he did?
I thought he was a footballer for years. On Scott, because of the Bolton thing. You know, I was associating him with...
Because his name's Bolton?
Yeah, I did.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. Of course, it's Ask Porky coming up a little bit later on in the show as well. If you've got any questions for him, you can tweet them at the two Mikes. But it's time to say a very good morning to Mr. Parry himself. A very good morning to you.
Yeah, very good morning, Mike. And I have to say, a classic night for Bournemouth. I just can't believe they're on a form at the moment. To go away and win 1-0 again tonight, and you know, an incredible run of form. And I saw Eddie, what's his name, their manager,
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe, of course. Yeah, lives near my sister in Bournemouth.
Does he?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Why is that relevant?
Why is it relevant?
Why is that relevant?
Well, it shows the...
He lives near your sister in Bournemouth.
Yes, it shows the heartfelt emotion and...
what the connection you have.
And warmth, the warmth that I have for the people of Bournemouth, the warmth I have for their
They have a lot of
club.
warmth for you as well.
They do have a lot of warmth for me. And the point is that all I was trying to point out was that a club with a maximum capacity of 11,000 is going to struggle to survive in the Premier League. That's all I ever said.
Yeah.
That's all I ever said. And for some unknown reason, all these Bournemouth fans read it completely the wrong way.
Well, because they thought you were saying they weren't a big club, right?
Well, they're not a big club.
It's always the worst thing to say about any football club.
No,
really,
no. Technically, they're not a big club. If you've got a stadium that takes 11,000 people, you are not a huge club, obviously. I do hope that they have a very successful campaign in the Premier League, but you've got to say, from the moment they get into the Premier League, and I'm not trying to put a wet blanket on it all, it's a magnificent achievement. You can bet your life the bookies are going to say, well, they'll be the favourites to go down.
Yeah, I suppose they would say that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they will. And, I mean, the difficulty is for Bournemouth, who may or may not want to build a bigger stadium and who may not be able to build a bigger stadium. Apparently there's a bit of sort of local, diffidence towards them having a Premier League football club down there because they don't really want all the football fans visiting there every second week.
Well, it's not a football town, in essence, Bournemouth. I mean, it is a genteel... thoroughly Middle England type
Isn't it kind
resort.
of a stag and hen party central, like Ben Fletcher suggested?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, I've been out there on Fridays and Saturday nights. I don't see a lot of that. It's got a lot of theatre people. It's got a lot of sort of five-star hotels and that sort of thing, where people go out for dinner and all that. I don't see a lot of staggery and hennery, as I call it.
Staggery and hennery, I like it.
Yeah, I don't.
Now, what about the more important question, which Bournemouth fans are much more fascinated by than how close your sister lives to the Bournemouth manager's house?
Yes.
But what is going to happen at the end of the season when the Bournemouth Pier jump is upon us?
Well, you see, the problem is, I said it in a sort of light-hearted fashion, and I'm not trying to wriggle out of it under any circumstances. I believe that, if the guillotine is poised over my neck...
Yeah.
Then I have to face my fate with God on my side.
Right.
And I think God will be on my side.
Will he?
But the problem is, I do not think... I mean, going to Reading and getting a result like that is pretty good stuff. You know what I mean? And their run of results now is just sensational. But I do
You've
not
said that
think...
already.
Yeah, I'm saying
I don't
it
want to
again.
change the subject.
Who was it who scored? Wilson. Yeah, Wilson scored
the Scotsman.
for the Cherries. Yes, very good.
Whose first visit to Scotland was going to play for them.
That's right, yeah, it was, yeah. I'd never been there before, had he? A good man. Now, I don't think the local authority are going to allow me to do it, you see.
Well, I mean, there are those who say that there are ways around that kind of thing.
Well, I have my people in Bournemouth working on negotiations with the council, because I want to do it. I mean, this is something I want to do. But the problem is, I'm going to need...
Have you studied the height of the pier and all that kind of thing, the depth of the water?
I've been on Bournemouth Pier loads of times. There's like an amusement arcade at the end.
Yeah.
And I often wander around there and put a few shillings in the machines and that kind of stuff, just to get the feel of the place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just to the left of it, by the way, is the notorious Boscombe Bank, which is where the council spent like about £2 million
when they were trying
putting
to create
sandbags into the sea to try and create a super wave for surfers coming in. It's completely failed. It doesn't work.
Hasn't worked at all.
Hasn't worked at all. But I mean, I'm not...
But that's not going to affect the depth of the water where you want to jump or anything.
Well, it might affect the way that the waves come in, because you've got to understand, I will need a local expert to study the tidal drift, to study the height of the waves on a particular day.
And also the tidal times as well.
Tidal times, wind and wind speed direction. things like atmospheric density because of the rate of my fall from the pier into the water.
Yeah, well, how high is it? That's what I'm saying.
It's pretty high.
When the tide is in, I mean, how high would you be jumping from?
It's pretty high.
Well, like 20 feet?
Probably 20 feet.
Yeah.
Now, the point is that there are two other things to consider. First of all, they did ban people from jumping off the pier because of what they call tombstoning.
Oh, yes.
This is where young kids go in, bring their knees up to their chest and go in to create what we used to call a bomb,
That's right,
water bomb.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, if they get that wrong, they end up damaging themselves.
Well, they can damage themselves,
which is a tragic thing for a young person.
Yeah, but yours would be done under controlled circumstances.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
With frogmen in a dinghy.
Well, this is what I'm saying. This is why my people are negotiating with the council down there to find out what's going on.
That's good.
The other consideration, and
so I think there'll be a huge crowd for it, apart from anything else.
I'm not sure too many people want to see me jump off the pier, and we might not do it through lack of interest, you see.
Right.
But the other thing is that might preclude this happening is, of course, health reasons.
Right.
Now, only 1/3 of my heart works.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
And, I've also consulted with my consultants.
Yes.
The
your cardiologists.
The thoracic cardio consultant who looks after my very dodgy ticker.
Right.
And there is
I imagine he would recommend that you don't do it.
Well, there is a view that hitting water at that temperature instantly like that could in fact be fatal. And I don't know.
That's what a way to go that would be.
Sorry, you find that amusing?
I do, yeah.
You find
I
that
do.
amusing?
I think that would be the ultimate way to go. I mean, you've often said what you wouldn't want to do is end up like lying in some kind of horrendous situation where you couldn't help yourself.
No.
I mean, that in many ways would be a very noble way for you to go out of this world.
You think the possibility of me dying is actually a joke? You think it's quite funny?
I find it quite amusing.
Quite amusing.
Particularly if you were dressed
you
as a
listen
duck.
To that, people. Listen what I have to put up with in this studio.
Particularly if you were dressed like a duck, which is what your original plan was.
Well, I said I will dress like a duck because that will be a tribute.
No, I mean, of course, I wouldn't want
any population.
I would not want any harm to come to you, obviously. However,
obviously
but
not.
the idea of you actually dying while jumping off Bournemouth Pier is quite amusing.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I tell you what, when my mother's standing there, my 83-year-old mum is standing there.
Well, why would you bring her into it?
Well, because she lives in Bournemouth, so she'll want to watch it, won't she?
Would she?
And if I suddenly jump off the pier straight into the water and then I surface face down, with my hands and legs out like a starfish, you know what I mean? That's a fish that looks like a star, by the way.
That's indeed, yeah.
I think my mother herself might have a heart attack
well,
if she thinks
that
her very valuable son has suddenly ceased to be breathing.
Yeah, well, we certainly wouldn't want that, would we?
No, of course we wouldn't. No, well, I hope not anyway. So there are problems. There are problems. But you know me,
But
Mike.
it's beginning to look, with only 3 games to go, that there really isn't any way out of this particular situation.
Well, the thing is, if Bournemouth lost those 3 games, they'd be in the playoff spots, which is the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
And who are those games against?
Their next 3 games, I think. I'm not sure, actually.
I thought I asked you to get those together I could, throw that question at you.
Oh, right.
But of course, you failed.
My apologies.
I can tell you one statistic, because I've been looking at it.
I think they've got a relatively easy run now. I certainly know that.
Bournemouth have failed to score in just 4 league games all season. A championship record. I mean, that is quite amazing, that, to go through a whole season and only 4 games you don't score.
Sheffield Wednesday, Bolton and Charlton, I'm told.
Sheffield Wednesday, Bolton, they're all winnable.
They're all sort of down table from them, so there's nobody,
right.
none of their rivals in the immediate top 6 that they have to play.
Let me just read you a little bit from here, because it's worth reading. Bournemouth are heading to promotion dreamland inspired by their own sleeping beauty. Andrew Sermon admitted he was struggling to keep his eyes open in Friday's 2-0 win at Brighton after the birth of his 3rd child, Lily, the night before, but the midfielder played a key role here being Reading, of course, last night, as his shot hit the post and rebounded to Callum Wilson, who tapped home after 4 minutes.
Yeah.
They held on to that lead for the next 86 minutes. So this is what we're looking at here. All sorts of people are going to try and stop me jumping off the pier.
No, they aren't.
Yes, they are.
Nobody is.
I'm going to fight them to try and make sure I do fulfil my obligation, both to the people of Bournemouth, to God, and to my own conscience.
I've got an idea for you, actually, that I've just thought of. Have you ever seen those things that they have in the summer sometimes at seaside resorts, which are like the big bubble that you can go inside?
Yes, I've
which
seen
is a
those.
bit like the thing that you used to see, a bit like the prisoner, almost.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
But you go inside this thing.
Yeah, the prisoner didn't go inside the bubble. The bubble flattened his face.
Yeah, I used to...
That's right.
But it always reminds me of that,
Yes.
But you could go inside one of those and jump off, and that way you would actually safeguard your health, because basically you wouldn't be submerged in the water, and you wouldn't actually even get wet.
That, to me, would be
and you could be pushed. You could be pushed off.
That'd be a cop-out. I want to do the real thing. I want to go into that water. I want that salt water to hit me right in the face. Not too hard, obviously.
No.
And I wanted to feel the pain. The pain of...
Well, I hope this is being recorded, because no doubt we'll need to use this audio in a few weeks' time.
Yes, the pain of upsetting the good people of Bournemouth.
So you want to jump off Bournemouth Pier?
I do.
You want to dress as a duck.
I do, but I feel that people are going to stand in my way. This is the problem, you know. But you know, I've had things stand in my way all my life.
Yeah.
I can get over it.
Yeah, of course you can.
I can get over it. There's a great Wetherspoon's pub, actually, down near the beach there, which I use. I think it's called the Man on the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Man in the Moon, or the Moon Crescent, something like that. And what are you laughing at?
You don't even know the name of the pub that you're in all the time.
No, I'm not in there all the time. I only go to Bournemouth about once every 3 months or something like that.
Okay.
I go when there's a bank holiday, see my sister or something like that. But anyway, look, what I'm saying is there is no reluctance whatsoever on the behalf of the Porkmeister's behalf to talking about myself in the third person to launch myself off the pier.
Okay.
No problem whatsoever.
Well, we're all looking forward to it, and there'll be a massive crowd, maybe even a bigger crowd than they get for a home game down at Bournemouth. But he's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham.
Very harsh. That's very harsh.
Not at all.
Think there's going to be more than 11,000 people?
It could be, yeah.
Very much
could be. I bet they'll all be on the beach looking for you. This is Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
And it's in!
A diving header at the end of a 50-yard run. From the root to the tip. Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on this morning, of course. There have been no problems reported with yesterday's podcast, so that was all very good. So it was riding high in the charts.
No, I was reading on Twitter a few complaints about, it's gone missing again or something like that.
Really?
You've got to get your act together.
No, there's nothing wrong with the podcast.
The only thing I ask you to do in a 24-hour cycle,
The podcast is absolutely fine.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that.
Have you downloaded it? Have you managed to try that yourself?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
So there was no problem with you downloading it?
No.
So there's no problem there?
No, but people say at various times, an hour or two, it seems to have gone a bit AWOL. But
really?
I'll take your word for it that it's all okay.
Now, let me read you this from TMO, I should say, who's tweeted at IROMG. Just something else to remind you about from your previous statements. Remember, Porky said the Bristol club should combine as they never win anything.
That's right.
City won the Football League trophy this year and are now promoted back into the Championship.
Yes.
So what have you got to say about that?
What I've got to say about that is I stand absolutely by what I say. Bristol is the 7th biggest city in this country, right? And yet, the two teams they have in that city have never won anything of any consequence whatsoever. They've had one international player in the entire history of the two clubs
did we not
called
work
John
out that
Attio.
they had won something?
No, they haven't won anything. And the point is, I read you a stat last night, didn't I, to say that the second Bristol team, which is at the top of the conference, which one's that?
Bristol City have just been promoted back into the Championship.
So it's Bristol Rovers.
Bristol Rovers are in the Conference Premier.
Oh, Conference Premier.
Yeah, which is the fifth tier of football.
No, the Vanarama Conference is the 5th tier of English football.
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying.
Oh, okay, that's the same thing, the Premier, yeah. Right, well, I said to you, didn't I, that the crowd they got last weekend was higher than any crowd in the Scottish Premier League. That's a stat I gave you, which gave me victory in the winners and losers competition against young Toby, right?
Young Toby, yes.
So what I'm saying is...
Tony, as he's now known.
Tony, that's right. So what I'm saying is going around boasting, we're champions of the conference and all that, to me is just nebulous and pointless. And if I support the team, which I thought should have done much better over the last 100 years and only just won the conference, I'd keep quiet about it. I'd keep absolutely quiet about it, believe me.
Well, you don't think Bristol City fans should be happy that they've been promoted into the Championship?
Yes, I do think they should be, but I'm talking about Bristol Rovers fans now.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying
why would they merge, though?
Why?
Why?
Because if they merged, they'd have a combined crowd then of about 40,000, possibly. I think their average crowds now are about 6 and 13 respectively, 14 respectively. So add them together, that's 20, and then double it up because they become a Premier League team, OK? 40,000, that's easily achievable in a conurbation that surrounds Bristol, the biggest city in the southwest of England, capital of the southwest of England.
Yes.
That is doable. And what they do is, and I've said this before, knock down both of their crummy little grounds, right? And build...
See, that's unnecessarily insulting.
No, it's not.
You just described their grounds as crummy and little.
Well, they are.
Well.
They are, you see.
Well, yeah, but I mean, why do you have to describe them as crummy and little?
Well, what do you want me to describe them as?
Well,
you didn't
have to use an adjective. You could have just said, why not just knock down their grounds instead of saying crummy and little?
What am I known as in broadcasting circles?
Well, there's a lot of things I can't say about that.
No, the seeker of truth and justice.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't go around lying about things that are actually plain as the smile on your face, OK?
All right.
Every time you think about me throwing myself off Bournemouth Pier and dying, smirk comes onto your face. Now, what I'm saying is this. If they knock down their 2 little stadia, right, and built one big one, which could take 50,000 people, therefore had the ambitions to attract that many people, if they then change their shirts to the same colour shirts as Barcelona, because one of the clubs is red and one of them is blue, and if they called the team Bristol... Got it?
Right.
Not Rovers or United or City or anything else.
Or they could call it the Bristol something or others, couldn't they?
No, just call it Bristol.
Yeah.
Call it Bristol United, because, of course, it's Rovers and City getting together. Call it Bristol United. Then it's a brand new club. Then they could become a force in the land. Then, the people of Bristol would have something to look forward to every weekend.
But that's like wiping out history, isn't it?
Well, it's what it's doing is it's not wiping out history at all. It is establishing a new
you might as well say
status
Everton
quo.
might as well merge with Liverpool, because Everton never win anything either. And if they form themselves into Liverpool United, then they might have more chance of actually getting some trophies.
You see, when anybody speaks utter nonsense like that, I'm afraid I have to end the conversation.
Why is that nonsense?
Because Everton are the fourth most successful club in the history of football in this country.
No, they're not. They're the fifth, I think.
No,
We've worked this one out before.
No, they're not. They work this. It doesn't matter. I don't care what you've worked out. They already have a core support each week of 40,000.
But it's a pretty crummy little ground, isn't it, Goodison Park? Wouldn't you describe it as that?
No. I'd say it's the most historically wonderful ground in this country.
But it is old.
Without a shadow of doubt. Of course it's old. Of course it's old.
So therefore it must be a bit run down.
It's not run down. It's historically utterly valuable. In fact, it won't be long before it's a listed building, and you won't be able to knock it down, to be honest. Just like you can't knock down parts of Rangers ground because of the way it was built. In fact, the same guy who built the stands at Rangers built the stands at Goodison, at White Hart Lane, and at Sunderland, and his first name is Archie.
Right. Well, so Sunderland's got knocked down, didn't it?
Roker Park
White Hart Lane's getting knocked down.
The stand he built there has already been knocked down, and the stand at Rangers that he built there has already been knocked down.
So Everton's the only place left?
No, they knocked down the stadium he built at Everton as well.
Right. So what's to go great about this guy then?
Well, what I'm saying is, what was so distinctive about those stands he built was, you see the old pictures from the 60s and all that, and where you see the standing underneath and rises up to the seated area above, what we call the stands. The metal crosses that went along the front were the signature, the trademark of this chap Archie, who designed and built those great stadia. He was a Scotsman, yeah. Can't remember his second name now, but somebody will tell me.
Somebody will tell you.
I should be able to remember it. But anyway, there you go. So that's all I'm saying, and I'm saying it for the benefit of the people of Bristol. I love Bristol. It's a great city. I've been there once, and it was okay. And I do think it deserves a lot better in terms of football heritage, because it hasn't got any heritage at the moment.
Well, here's what John says. Bristol City have won 3 cup finals at Wembley in the last 30 years, so Porky's wrong again about them never winning anything.
Yeah, but hang on. None of those cup finals were the FA Cup final or the League Cup final, which are the only finals
still
that
cup
matter.
Finals, though.
Yeah, but they're very minor competitions.
For which you get a piece of silverware.
I mean, people, you're saying to me, you've been very mean and miserable to Bristol by describing their grounds as crummy little grounds, by just saying they've never won anything, they won the 3 cup finals. Why are you so sympathetic to losers? I don't like losers. I like winners.
They've just won promotion. Now, how are they losers?
Well, yes, they have, but they're relative losers.
Really?
You see what I mean?
Well, no, if you get promoted from one division to another, that makes you a winner, doesn't it?
It's good.
How do you make that into being a loser?
Well, because in terms of football greatness, they do not rate.
Right.
They are just about a level above local football in Bristol.
So what's your definition of greatness in football, then?
To have an historic heritage which indicates and signifies the contribution you've made to the rich cultural history of football in this country
every football club
over
can
the last
be
150 years.
Not every football club can be successful.
No, but
by definition.
I totally agree, but Chester cannot be successful because they come from a city of about 70,000 people and they live within the hinterland of Everton, Liverpool, Manchester United and Manchester City, okay? So it's very, very difficult for them to accumulate any sort of crowd to make themselves a big club. Bristol are the 7th biggest city in this country, and their hinterland does not contain one other big club for 50 miles.
So you're saying they should be the 7th most successful club?
Yeah, I'm saying they should. I'm saying that should be their ambition. Of course it should.
Right.
The nearest big club to Bristol is across the old Bristol Channel into Wales.
Into Cardiff?
No, Swansea.
Cardiff City's closer than Swansea.
Well, Cardiff is closer, but they're not in the Premier League, are they? And Swansea is, and Swansea's a bit further away. Swansea's 100 miles away from Bristol.
It is a long way.
And yet they're the nearest, most successful club. And the nearest after that, let me think, would be Southampton. That's another 100 miles away.
Yeah.
So they've got a vast area, a vast swathe of land in which they could attract people to be loyal supporters of a successful club.
Right.
And in my view, it's an utter disgrace to the name of all the great people who've come out of Bristol, like, for instance, Isambard Kingdom Brunel.
Oh, yeah. Did he come out of Bristol?
Sir Francis Drake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, all these people came out of Bristol.
They came out of Bristol?
They haven't made it a greater city. Really?
Well, maybe they just weren't concentrating on football.
No, they weren't.
Now, here's some information from James, who says it's called the Moon in the Square, that pub you're
talking about. The Moon in the Square, that's the one,
thank you. Surprise, surprise, it's a Wetherspoons.
It is a Wetherspoons, I told
you that. Is that all
you
you ever go to?
Well, Wetherspoons...
Why don't you go to some proper pubs?
Because Wetherspoons are a big chain of pubs.
It's like going to McDonald's of pubs all the time.
Well, look, you see, you're being snobbish here.
Yeah, I am.
You're being snobbish.
Well, because you should support the local trader as opposed to, the large conglomerate that squeezes the life out of the local trader.
I go to loads of pubs, as you well know.
I do know that.
But I always find in Wetherspoons you get fantastic value for money. The food is award-winning. The fish and chips there are better than anywhere I've tasted them, except at my mate Dave's Sports and Bar Grill in London.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I have no snob value whatsoever about going to Wetherspoons. Whatsoever.
Well, here's some more info coming your way.
OK.
Here's one from FC, who says, Goodison is one of the worst grounds in the country. Most visiting fans have to duck and dodge around pillars and roofs to see the game. And here's one from Owen, who says, Mike Parry's trying to destroy rivalries. I've supported Coventry all my life, but moving into a bigger stadium destroyed us. And Taxi Man says, Parry's talking absolute cobblers. The main stand at Ibrox hasn't been knocked down. Archibald Leach was the name of the architect.
Archibald Leach is the guy.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Archibald Leach was the real name of Cary Grant. It's not Archibald Leach.
Isn't it?
No. Archibald Leach is Cary Grant.
Oh, okay.
And Cary Grant certainly didn't build any football stadiums in this country before he went off to America and became the Hollywood heartthrob.
OK. And Bill says, Porky, Goodison Park is a modern mecca of football. It's crumbling round your ears.
Well, I've already admitted it's an old stadium,
yes.
And we're going to have a huge problem getting it rebuilt now because, under financial fair play... The problem now is that clubs like Everton, who need an injection, a huge amount of money to build a new stadium and make themselves as great as they have been in the past, won't get it now because it won't accord with financial fair play rules.
So how long before they win nothing do they become an also-ran of football? Well, because you can't keep resting on your laurels forever.
Well, if I were you, I'd go and ask fans of Preston North End, Sunderland...
Yeah.
Newcastle United haven't won anything for 60 years and they're still regarded as a big club. So it's got to be a century, really.
Do you think?
Sorry?
You think a century?
Yeah, I think it's a century, yeah.
So 100 years of winning nothing.
Preston North End, right, they...
We've seen the time, by the way.
Yeah, well, don't worry about the time, because I've important things to tell you. They last got anywhere in 1964, when they got to the FA Cup final against West Ham.
Yeah.
They lost 2-0. Howard Kendall was the 17-year-old youngest player ever to have played in a cup final that day.
Right.
Bobby Moore, captain of West Ham, lifted the first trophy West Ham ever won. How about that?
Yeah.
In my lifetime, the first trophy that West Ham ever won. I'm not quite old at all. And the point I was going to make is that Preston North End have to go into 2 centuries ago before they won anything.
I know. Shocking state of affairs.
Ago.
I must apologise for Mr. Parry's behaviour. He seems to be casting aspersions across a great number of different football clubs, which I disassociate myself from immediately. And I think
that's because you're a cowardly bum.
Bristol is a very, very fine place.
Cowardly bum,
many times.
Trying to keep in with everybody and upset nobody.
Look into the light for a moment. This is TalkSport.
On DAB, digital radio, and 1089 and 1053 AM.
A terrific performance.
Turn of pace and eye for goal.
Shout about it.
TalkSport.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry. Of course, there will be a Two Mikes podcast coming out in a little while. Tim has tweeted us some pictures, not only with the information saying this, but Bristol City are currently building a new ground on the site of Ashton Gate, capacity 28,000. It looks very nice indeed.
That's amazing.
Look, there's an artist's impression of it.
Oh, well, that's a step forward.
Well, it is.
How much have they built so far?
Well, I don't know. He's just saying that it's underway. I mean, it is underway, so it looks like it's nearly done.
It looks like it's nearly done, yeah. Good idea.
Could be done in time for the new season.
Yeah, good idea, except all I would say is that having now built that new stadium, that will further put barriers to the amalgamation of the two clubs.
Well, nobody thinks that's a good idea apart from you.
And a superpower, sorry?
And nobody thinks that's a good idea apart from you anyway.
Well, yes, but why doesn't anybody else think it's a good idea?
Because it's a mad idea and it does away with two rival clubs in the same city. Gorgie Tiger says this, tell Porky it is Archibald Leach. He built Tynecastle as well and Everton took him just like they took Alec Young off us.
Yes, that's right, we did. Yeah, Alex Young, the Golden Vision.
Well, he seems to have built an awful lot of places, this guy.
Leitch, his name is spelt, whereas the Archie Leach who was Cary Grant was Leitch. Leach.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
The other thing
there was
is
Robin Leach as well.
The other thing is
Robin Leach.
Robin Leach.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
I do remember him in
Former
America.
tabloid journalist that became a multi-millionaire
Yes,
because
that's right.
he did one of those shows in America, which I think they used to show over here as well.
Which was syndicated.
Syndicated, where he just went and interviewed loads of rich people and asked them very nice questions.
Yeah, that's right. It was a bit like a Forerunner 2 Through the Keyhole, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very hot in the studio tonight. Can you tell me why?
Well, I think when the guys left previously, they had the heater on full blast.
Well,
which
why?
I switched
What's
off.
wrong with them?
Well, I don't know what's wrong with them. Maybe they're reptiles or something.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's very hot.
Unfortunately,
it's affecting my performance.
The temperature in here is controlled by the guys behind the glass because unfortunately, we don't have a separate thermostat. So what I can ask them to do is to turn it down in there. I know you've already lost interest in it. It's typical of you. This. You ask a question, right?
Yes.
When I give you the answer, you've already tuned out.
Yeah, but
you're not even listening to the answer.
Point is, Mike, I need answers which are to the point.
Well, my answer was to the point.
It's a rambling.
No, I have to explain to you
why
I'm. Once again, you're blaming me for something I can't control. I haven't got control of a knob which controls the thermostat and the temperature. You have to talk to them about that.
Yeah, well, as you say. Listen,
and they're already wearing jackets in there, so I presume it's cold.
Well, it can't be, surely. Anyway,
you're just very sensitive to heat because the sun's come out, and suddenly now we're in the new summer.
Listen, I want to talk to you about this.
Fantastic.
I want to talk to you about this.
I'm very happy about it.
It's the most miserable few months of the year for me now because the heat gets me. Only a third of my heart works, and
Did you see that story, by the way, of some guy somewhere up north, I think it was, wandered into a police station to complain about the temperature.
Really?
Somebody actually tweeted me and said, has Porky been up to Barnsley or somewhere? I can't remember where it was. I'll see if I can find the story.
How mad is this person? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
But what happens is at this time of year is that everybody starts getting hay fever. Now, I didn't have hay fever.
Do you suffer from hay fever?
Well, this is the point. When I was a kid, I remember when I was about 7 or 8 in school, there was a poor boy there called Nicky somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And he had
Another great friend.
Can't
remember his last name.
Absolutely. He had the most terrible attack of hay fever all the time.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what it was. It was asthma.
Oh, yeah.
He had terrible asthma, but...
Well, they can often be related, can't
I was about to say, it was exacerbated in the summer months when the pollen was flying around and he couldn't do games, poor little lad. He couldn't go out on the playing fields.
When you
say
poor little lad, I presume you sort of remonstrated with him remonstratively.
No, not at all.
I bet you were not at all sympathetic.
Well, I wasn't sympathetic. I didn't know what was wrong with him. I was so young. I was about 7 years of age.
Yeah, but I can't imagine you ever being sympathetic to anyone as a child. Because you're certainly not now.
I always try to help. All my life,
really?
I've tried to help.
Right.
I
can't see you going over to the little kid who's been, I don't know, left out on his own or sent to Coventry. I can't see you as the guy that suddenly brings him back into the fold.
I would. And I remember once we had a sports day in a field that wasn't our school field.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a hired field, like a farmer's field, to have this sports day.
Right.
I remember we had to go around lifting all the cowpats before we could actually compete.
Oh.
Seriously, yeah, it was one of those sort of situations.
How appalling.
I know, it was awful, but I mean, it was in Cheshire. There's lots of...
was this one of the poorest schools you were visiting or something?
No. It was a private school.
Oh, yeah?
It was a private school.
Well, they let cows onto the playing field.
No.
Well, exactly, the playing fields of Eton, is it?
I just told you. It wasn't the school field. It was a farm's field that we used for the sports day, and we had it once a year or something like that. Right. But, all the dad used to turn up with shovels and all that, go around getting all the cowpats and all that kind of stuff, get them off.
Shocking.
But I remember this kid ran round and he was the champion of everything. But in the last race, believe it or not, he lost his pump.
Hey, what?
He lost his pump.
What pump?
You wear pumps in those days, not trainers. They were called pumps.
Oh, you mean his shoes?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Called pumps.
Plimsolls.
Well, we called them pumps.
You call them pumps?
Yeah.
Pumps are women's shoes. No, pumps are women's shoes.
No, they were pumps. Anyway, mine were the whitest of the white because I used to spend ages with a white creamer stick making my shoes whiter than anybody else's. What are you laughing at?
I'm not surprised at all at that.
I did.
How pathetic is that?
No.
Did they have Velcro or were they the elasticated ones?
No, you idiot. They had laces.
They were elasticated plimsolls, weren't they?
They had laces. By the way, did you see that piece that Prince Charles, according to a new book out on him, makes his valet iron his shoelaces?
Yeah.
Which I thought was something that perhaps my housekeeper might get into.
Well, there's been plenty of stories about what Prince Charles' valet gets up to, but I suppose we shouldn't go there.
No, we shouldn't go there. But
no.
I mean, squeezing toothpaste for him and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this poor kid who was, he was the champion.
Well, it sounds to me like somebody hid his pumps. I bet you didn't lose them.
He did. It flew off during the race and it flew off into the nettles or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. And
what sort of a place were you running in, for heaven's sake?
Well, it was a farmer's field.
Like cowpats, nettles.
It was a farmer's field. And anyway, he was heartbroken. He lost his shoe. And he said his mum and dad would shout at him because he was going home without his shoe and all that.
Why didn't he just do a Zola Bud and run barefoot?
because he would have had
probably
one
stepping
foot,
in a cow pat.
No, 1 foot in a shoe, 1 foot out of a shoe.
Well, he's had the other shoe off, though.
Well, yeah, but he still had to go home, didn't he? You know what happens when you get home? You tell your mum and dad you lost your PE kit or something. You know, so anyway.
Get beaten to within an inch of your life.
Yeah, that's right. So I organised the search, and we found it. We found the pump.
What, in the nettles?
In the nettles, yeah, we found it. Got it out with a stick. We broke a...
It couldn't have been that hard to find if it came off his foot.
No, it was. It was dense. It was dense nettles and all that kind of stuff, and he was frightened to go in there.
Shocking place to have a sports day.
He was a timid little kid, so I broke a branch off the tree. I went smashing through the nettles. I found his shoe for him, and he was heartbroken, but I gave him his life back, and he went home.
What a
happy.
generous move.
I remember that was my first real gesture.
Still in touch with him, are you?
No. I've
no
no idea who he is. I don't know who he is. No. But I mean, that's irrelevant. The point is, it was an act of kindness because I wanted the poor boy to stop crying. I felt, his day had been ruined.
Yeah.
And he was the champion athlete.
Yeah.
I said champion athlete. He won the 100 metres and he won the.
I'm surprised you
wouldn't
have seen him as a rival. Or
Sorry?
Something. I'm surprised you didn't see him as some kind of rival.
Well, I didn't actually because I do have compassion.
Did you ever do any of that track and field stuff?
I did the
high jump.
No. What I did is I did the cross-country because, especially at the King's School Chester, because it was built on land owned by the Duke of Westminster on one of his vast estates in Cheshire.
Yeah.
And what we used to do is, it's quite simple. We used to go running off, and ahead of the field and all this kind of stuff. And as soon as we got down...
And then hide somewhere.
No, we used to go to the pub because as soon as we got down the Panhandle...
Every story involves going to the pub.
That's right, yeah. As soon as it...
What age were you doing that then?
16. As soon as we got down the Panhandle, right, which was like a route out of school into the woods, we took a right turn instead of a left turn, ran into a little village. I can't remember what it was called now, but it was near a little
Well,
village.
you're not dressed as if you were running a cross-country run, though?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, didn't they know you were from the school?
Probably, but I didn't seem to care. And we went into
Didn't they know you were underage?
No, because we went to this place called Hambridge, right? And it was somewhere near Hambridge, this village.
Yeah.
It's literally on the Duke of Westminster's estate. And we'd secreted a £5 note in our training shoes, you know what I mean?
Right, in pumps.
In our pumps, yeah, that's right. No, that's absolutely right, actually. And we went in there.
They still have the white ones at this point.
They still had the white ones, yeah. And we had 2 or 3 pints, while all the rest of the field was like, running.
And then
in
what?
the
You caught
direction.
up with them as they were coming back.
Well, we didn't care really, because at 16, when you've had 2 or 3 pints, you get quite lightheaded.
Yeah.
So we just used to go out and just run anywhere. And,
what sort of school discipline did they have?
Climb over a fence back into the field and then claim we'd lost our way.
Yeah.
So it was easy.
Absolutely
but
appalling.
the guy at the pub, the pub wasn't even open, by the way. Right. You had to knock on the back door because we knew that the farmers went in there and drunk all day.
Yeah.
So we just joined them. They didn't care. They didn't care at all.
Unbelievable. It's no wonder you have no kind of discipline about it.
And we used to tell them we were 18 anyway, because, we were big, burly
You were never
chaps.
big and burly.
I was big and burly at 16.
I've seen pictures of you when you were 16.
No, I wasn't. I was big and burly.
I'll put one out if you're not careful.
And we managed to fool everybody. No, that's the way I used to do it. But look, the reason I'm talking about
this... It's getting
this...
late, by the way. We've seen the time.
Right. Hay fever here
we'll
early.
Have to talk about it. Well,
no,
wait, tell me next.
We've got to talk about it now.
Tell me in a minute.
It's vital.
It can't be vital because we're out of time.
It's vital information.
All right, well, just hang on to it and keep your information device charged, and we'll come back with some more information on hay fever next on Talk Sport.
Absolutely.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The pressure's on now.
Relieve the itch. Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, and of course there is a Talk Sport podcast coming out of the 2 mics. It will be out around about 7 or so hours from now.
Are you sure?
Listen, it's very reliable. The only time it ever goes wrong is if somebody messes something up, but it's very much beyond my control. By the way, I found this story about some guy who's described as a hot and bothered holidaymaker turning up at a police station in Oldham to make a criminal complaint over the sweltering conditions.
Yes.
And I got this tweet from somebody called Dave who said, is Porky up north, because he wondered if it was you, knowing as he does that you don't like the weather. He was told in no uncertain terms by the police to stop wasting police time, and there was nothing they could do about it.
Yeah, well, that guy's a nutter. If you go into a police station and complain, I am in what you could describe as a sweatshop conditions. Yeah. I work in a chicken poultry farm or something in a closed warehouse.
A chicken poultry farm?
Yeah,
as opposed to what other sort of poultry farm?
Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Don't be splitting hairs, man.
I'm not.
Or I work in an office where, the air conditioning is broken down, temperature's 110 degrees. That is against the law.
Yeah.
So I could understand the annoyance of somebody thinking, oh, what can I do? What can I do? But for somebody to go in and complain about the heat and the street, it's just an idiot.
Yeah.
Wasting police time.
Yeah.
Not enough policemen around.
Here's another one
from
Gary in Edinburgh. He says, Mr. Parry, Isambard Brunel and Francis Drake are both from Bristol. Fact is, Brunel is from Portsmouth and Drake is from Devon. 0 out of 2.
Yeah, well, hang on. Bristol is near Devon.
Well, it's not in Devon, though, is it?
No, but as Sir Francis Drake was growing up, that's true. Sir Francis Drake grew up in a little village in Devon, but of course, all his main seagoing exploits were from either Plymouth or Bristol.
Are you suggesting that so he sailed from Bristol?
Yeah, of course I'm suggesting that. Bristol, you've got to remember, was the biggest trading port in the world at the time.
Very true.
The problem was 50% of the trading was in the slave trade, which is a bit of a pity, really, because it's not the sort of thing that we want to boast about these days. But what I'm saying
Well, I mean, there are some who rather derisively call the Bristol City Football Club the slave traders.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
But I think that's a bit of an insult. Yeah.
Well, I think it is, yeah. And the other point about Isambard Kingdom Brunel, yes, you're absolutely right. Of course I know he comes from Portsmouth because, in fact, one of the hostelries I use in Portsmouth on a quite regular basis in Gunwharf Quays...
Has that got a moon in it?
No, it's called the Customs House.
Is it the Wetherspoons?
No.
Are you sure?
No, I'm certain. It's called the Customs House.
I think you've taken me there, haven't you? Didn't we have dinner there?
I think we have had a bit
Isn't that where we found the Robin Schönhofer lookalike?
The Robin Schönhofer.
Do you remember we went there one night? The night that you were supposed to be putting me up in your place. And
yes.
You eventually told me to go stay in a Holiday Inn instead.
No, I think that was the Jolly Roger, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Around the back of the
harbour. It was the one where we had dinner. Which was sort of out there on the harbour.
Yeah. No. That was in Old Portsmouth. That was a different one. That's a very nice establishment. No, this is right in the middle of Gunwharf Quays, and it's called the Customs House because for 200 years it was the Royal Navy Customs House, you know?
Where they confiscated stuff and put it in there.
Well, where they assessed all the taxes and all that kind of stuff, you know. It's now a very nice pub, and each room is called after some local hero. So one of the rooms is called the Dickens Room, because Charles Dickens came from Portsmouth as well.
Did he?
And yes, he did, yes.
He came from Portsmouth?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm certain.
Okay.
I know my local history.
Well, you said that Isambard Kingdom Brunel came from Bristol.
No, I didn't.
He came from Portsmouth.
Didn't say that. Where do you think the Great Eastern was launched?
The Great Eastern?
Yes.
What, the railway?
No, the ship.
Oh, the ship.
The Fool that sailed, the first ship to sail across the Atlantic.
I don't know, Portsmouth?
Portsmouth.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Bristol. Sorry, Bristol. No, you fooled me there.
Yeah.
Right, now...
It's like Pavlov's dog, this. I just name a place. You want to know who famous comes from Bristol?
Yes.
Julie Burchill, for one.
Julie Burchill?
Oh,
yeah.
W.G. Grace.
W.G. Grace?
Wallace and Gromit, they don't really count, do they?
Well, they do, because is it their inventor, Nick Park?
That's Nick Park, yeah.
That's right.
Sophie Anderton.
Sophie Anderson,
Stephen Merchant.
Yeah.
Robin Cousins.
Robin Cousins, the ice skater, won a Olympic gold medal.
Ian Holloway.
Holloway, yes, of course he does. Yes, the football manager.
Cary Grant, it says you got that one.
Yeah, Cary Grant.
And Banksy apparently comes from there.
Oh, didn't know that. Anyway, we were talking about hay fever. That's how we got onto this, right? Hay fever sufferers could face worse symptoms than usual this spring as a result of high pollen counts, which have caused an upsurge in people seeking medical treatment. Experts warned that there could be a 33% rise in the number of people struck by the condition, while hospitals said many sufferers were experiencing symptoms earlier than in previous years. Right. Now, that coincides, right, with some lunatic who's arrived in this country calling himself a healer who claims he can cure Ebola, AIDS and autism and hay fever.
Right.
But
it's a bit of a wide sweep, isn't it?
It is a wide sweep, but the reason that he might be deported and sent back is because the way he cures it is he douses people in industrial-strength bleach.
Really?
Yeah.
And where is this guy?
Well, this guy's arrived from Las Vegas.
Oh, right. Well, he's here now, is he?
He's here. His name is Jim Humble. He's a salesman and former gold prospector. That says something, doesn't it?
Humble by name, but not by nature.
I was about to say, clearly very medically trained, gold prospector from Las Vegas. And he describes himself as an archbishop of a church he invented himself. And he promotes a solution which he says can cure a huge variety of ailments, including hay fever.
He sounds dangerous. Why have they let this guy into the country?
Well, they didn't know about him until he got here.
Right.
Now, health authorities have put a warning out about this guy, OK? The product he sells is called the Miracle Mineral Solution, abbreviated to MMS.
Oh, yeah.
But according to the health authorities, it may pose serious health risks, including kidney failure and poisoning.
No, I'm not surprised. Are you supposed to drink this stuff, then, or are you supposed to douse yourself in it?
I'm just trying to find out. The UK Food Standards Agency have likened it to industrial-strength bleach and warned it could cause severe nausea, vomiting and diarrhoea.
Goodness me.
It reminded local authorities that these products should not be on sale, but each trading standards office is run by a different council. So this guy seems to be moving from one sort of town to another to try and sell
this. So is he literally hawking this stuff on the streets then?
Yeah, he's like an old-fashioned medicine man.
Snake oil salesman.
Snake oil salesman. So,
that doesn't sound like he should be allowed to do that.
He's also a former Scientologist.
Oh, yeah.
So I suppose he's got something in common with Tom Cruise. But he says that he is the Archbishop of the Genesis II Church of Health and Healing, which he founded himself. And he says the solution can cure serious conditions if used as an enema. So that's how it's ingested into the body.
You'll never lose money overestimating the stupidity of the public, will you?
No.
I mean, there'll be people who'll be lining up to buy some of this rubbish.
Well, anyway, he was let into the country because he's due to appear at a Spirit of Health conference at the Old Chapel Centre in Alfriston in Sussex. You must know that.
I don't, actually.
You live in Sussex, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't know Alfriston.
You don't know Alfriston?
No.
Local ignorance. And this is how we
Which
got...
part of Sussex is it in?
Well, it just says Sussex.
Well, East Sussex or West
Well,
Sussex?
I don't know.
Then maybe you should be a bit more specific.
I don't know. I've researched this tonight because I was trying to find a cure for hay fever.
Researched it.
Yeah, and I came up with this guy who's clearly a nutter.
Well, clearly you want to put some industrial strength bleach up your backside and that'll sort you out. You won't be worried about having hay fever for the rest of your life.
you probably wouldn't, mate. That's absolutely right. But anyway, it says... Joe Walton, a campaigner against these cranks who go around selling stuff, says, due to the immense stupidity and risk to public health, the products are allowably being promoted. It's amazing. Professor David Colquhoun, who's a pharmacology expert at the University College London, and a critic of alternative medicine, which this man is peddling, says this sort of quackery is preying on the vulnerable.
That really is. Well, I mean, it's incredible what kinds of things can be allowed to go on. Isn't it amazing that
people would even do that? I mean, it really is. Anyway.
Here we go. I found Alfriston. It's a village in the Sussex district of Wealdon, in the valley of the River Cuckmere, about 4 miles northeast of Seaford and south of the main A27 trunk road. So it's more near. It's nearer the sort of Brighton part of Sussex.
Well, I was about to say, I've never heard of any names of any of those towns.
No.
But that's the problem with something that's incurable, like hay fever.
Yeah.
You get so many quack cures, don't you?
Well, you do.
And people who suffer from it badly, what you do is psychologically you say to them, "Oh, this has never failed," and they spend hundreds of pounds on it, only to find it actually has failed again.
Right. Funnily enough, I used to get terrible hay fever as a child, but I mean, since about the age of something like 8 or 9, I've never really got it very badly. And the only time I really get it badly is if there is an incredibly high pollen count and everybody's got it, But generally speaking, I've been
I get it now, and you can get it in middle age.
But it can be more like an allergy, can't it?
No, in middle age you can suddenly get it, and all of a sudden...
Well, you're not in middle age. You're well past middle age.
No, I'm low middle age.
Well, what would you describe as middle aged?
70.
70?
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't take a sip of my tea before you said that.
No, middle age.
70 is not middle age.
Yes,
middle age begins around about probably 45.
No, I don't agree.
Until you're about 60.
I don't agree. The whole world has changed.
But it hasn't changed to the point where middle age is. What's old age then?
Look, for instance, can I say this? People like Andy Jacobs and myself still wear trainers all the time because we feel comfortable in them. Don't feel the need to conform to 2 or 3 decades ago when gentlemen of that sort of age would wear leather shoes.
What are you saying about Andy Jacobs?
Well, I'm saying that Andy is a man who is acts and looks much, much younger than he is.
Right.
Because he's active and has a great brain and all this kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying. And
a bit like yourself.
Yes, a bit like myself, that's right. Listen, talking about active brains and adults and all this.
Yeah. You've seen the time, by the way.
Oh, you've got plenty of time. I've come across a fantastic success story about a woman who is an entrepreneur whose husband has already created a modern brewery called Brewdog. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't, no.
I have. I heard about this Brewdog thing. I read about this guy.
What, is it like he's making bottles of beer and selling them randomly, or is it in a pub?
Well, he borrowed £20,000 in 2008 to start his own beer from a shed in his garden. He's now got a turnover of £30 million selling bottled Brewdog beers, okay?
I think I have heard of Brewdog.
Yes,
actually.
Exactly. Anyway, his wife, which is the great thing, is called Johanna. That's...
Johanna? Like the Bob Dylan song?
Johanna.
Right. Johanna.
Basford. That's his wife. And do you know how she's made her first million?
I don't know.
She sells colouring books to adults.
Really?
And she has sold over 1 million of them. And apparently this is the latest therapeutic thing for people who want to, settle their heads or get their heads together or
just have something to concentrate on.
Yeah, absolutely. Hang on, what does it say here? It's
all these research documents you've got in front of you.
Yeah. No, I do a lot of research. Now, here we go. The pictures she puts in the colouring books are whimsical, tricksy and trippy. Swirling 2D scapes of animals, trees, flowers, insect houses, impossible gardens with a rural aesthetic born of the environment in which she draws them. Yeah.
Maybe you should get some.
In an attic studio she shares with a 9-month-old daughter and husband, James Watt, co-founder of the fantastically successful and brash modern brewery Brewdog. So what I'm saying is, nobody would back her when she started saying, I'm going to sell. She's now sold 1.4 million colouring books.
Yeah.
They are literally, Mike, you get the book.
Is it like a sort of big sketch type
A big
size?
sketch type book and all that. You go home, you get all your felt-tip pens out and all that, and you spend the evening colouring the book in.
I think that'd be great for you.
What do you mean?
I think that'd be a perfect way for you to spend some time. One, it would keep you out of the pub, right? Two, it would stop you from, having
I think a lot of people do it in the pub.
Well,
I think a lot of people take them into the pub.
I don't think you'd want to sit down with somebody colouring in a book in a pub, would you?
Why not?
Well, because you might think they might be a bit strange.
Here, she says here, I'm so glad that I've given back to society. I have Wall Street bankers, people in hospital recovering from strokes and other illnesses doing the books. Psychologists and therapists tell me they give them to their patients. Teenagers do them to beat exam stress. Lots of people email me to say they're using the books to get through a tough time.
Yeah. Well, you should get some.
She said when she first went to find investment for it, all she got was blank, 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 doors slammed in her face, silences on the other end of the phone, and then somebody let me go for it. The print run initially was 16,000. That sold out very, very quickly. It appeals to a far wider range of people than anyone had predicted.
How much does she charge for these books?
I don't know. Let me see. I can't actually tell you that because I haven't
researched it thoroughly, have you?
Well, I do. I researched it.
I shouldn't put up with you coming in here without researching things properly.
I think they vary in price depending on how big they are.
I'll get you one for Christmas.
Here we go. The Secret Garden, Enchanted Forest, which is a colouring... What are you laughing at, please? What are you doing?
Nothing. It's all right, carry on.
The Secret Garden... Why are you laughing? Why can't I get approach this?
Here we go. Have you seen the time?
A serious subject. Just to tell you before this...
Yeah, God, how much are they?
The Secret Garden...
Can you not just answer me with one number?
£9.95.
Thank you very much indeed. £9.95. It sounds brilliant. I'm going to get you a whole host of them for your Christmas present. Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, and you're listening to the Two Mikes on Extra Time. We're keeping you entertained throughout the night. We've been talking about Bournemouth, we've been talking about Bristol City, of course, as well. We've been talking a bit about Blackpool as well. Coming up in this hour, it's time for Ask Porky, where you can get all of your questions answered, whether they be of a personal nature, a business nature, a sporting nature. Do whatever you like. Find us at the Two Mikes. There will be a podcast coming out, of course, as well, and we'll let you know when that's happening. 08717 223344. You're listening to Extra Time with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the Two Mikes. We'll talk about Gareth Bale coming up in a little while, but a couple of corrections for you. Well, not necessarily corrections, but clarifications, shall we say. Yeah. Here's one from John in Prestatyn, who says, great show, guys. I think the village Porky's talking about is Eccleston, near Handbridge. Does that sound right?
Eccleston, it is. Eccleston.
Is it Eccleston?
Yes, it is Eccleston.
So
Thank you very much indeed.
That was the place you used to end up when you were on your cross-country runs.
That's right, yeah.
Absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Now, you're somebody who's often said you don't like going on holiday, right? And I don't know what your plans are for this year, but holidays, apparently, according to a piece of research that I saw earlier in the day, are bad for your health.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Why is that then?
Well, I was looking at that as well after I spoke to you earlier. The point is that when you go on holiday, right, the danger is that you drop all your defences against what keeps you healthy for the rest of the year. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you drop your defences on overeating. Yeah. You drop your defences on over drinking. Yeah.
That is true, actually. I mean, last summer when I went to Turkey, and we went to one of these all-inclusive hotels, because we like going there because it means. I mean, we've tried doing the whole villa thing, which is nice, but I always get complaints that you end up having to do a bit of washing up and cooking and all that.
Your wife ends up doing all the cooking and everything again,
or somebody else's wife, depending on who you go with.
Yes, exactly.
But I mean, the point is that if you go to one of these places where basically the bar is open from minute one. I mean, there was a lot of Russians, I told you, in this place in Turkey.
That's right.
And I would go sometimes to the bar by the swimming pool, say straight after breakfast, which even for me was a little bit early to start drinking. These guys would be downing shots of whiskey, with their coffee. They'd get an espresso coffee. Yeah. They'd be sitting there in the swimming trunks on, and they'd be downing shots of whiskey at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
They'd be plastered by sort of 11 o'clock.
Well, I think in Russia that's kind of a pastime.
I'll tell you what, in Russia they drink vodka like we drink wine. Yeah. I remember going to a banquet at the Kremlin once, with some of my contacts.
Some of your KGB mates.
Well,
what about all these Russian war manoeuvres that have been going on around the country, by by the way?
Well, let me just tell you about the vodka in Russia first. And you sit there, and like the banana-flavoured, raspberry-flavoured vodka, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they pour it into a wine-type glass, the same measures as you would have wine.
So do you get it like with a different course or something like that? Is that the idea? Or do you just meant to drink it just continually?
Just meant to drink it continually as you eat your food. The thing is...
And are you supposed to knock it back, or are you supposed to, what do you do with it?
Do whatever you want.
Right.
I mean, I didn't see everybody throwing the glasses in the grate or anything like that, but I mean, I saw people just swilling it down. But I tell you what the amazing thing is, this might sound strange considering the modern world is so affluent, and Russia is so affluent at the highest, But I went there first before the Berlin Wall came down. Yeah. I went there in communism, when Russia was a very, very grey country. Yeah. Honestly, there was no colour, there were no billboards, there were no neon lights, there was nothing, and there were very, very few five-star hotels. If they were used by the Communist Party elite. Yes. But anyway, I went to this Kremlin banquet, such as it is, and I think one reason why they give you so much vodka, which is very, very cheap in Russia, made from potato crops and that sort of thing, is the meat on my plate was appalling. I mean, what I'm saying is, Mike, it was...
Well, in those days, they would still be queuing up for chickens or something, wouldn't they?
I'm telling you,
suddenly got a load of chickens
this meat looked like what had been left over to feed to the pigs. I'm not joking. Right. There was some sort of particles of what we would call brown meat, but most of it was white rind.
Gristle.
Gristle, it was. And I reckon...
what you don't like.
I reckon the Russians have to drink loads of vodka with the food they're being served up for 50 years because the food was so inedible. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so better to get plastered and think you might be eating something decent than not to be plastered.
Well, that might be the way.
And eat garbage, which is what they were. Well, as for the Russian manoeuvres in the Channel and all that, we'll get back to holidays in a minute. I'll tell you about how I get around the holiday problem, OK? But as for the Russian manoeuvres in the Channel and flying aeroplanes into northern Scotland to test our defences, I mean, old Putin has got the measure of us. We have got very, very few ships left.
Yeah. I mean, I think he knows that, doesn't he?
I think we've only got about 18 surface ships. Right. That's what I was told by my, mates in Portsmouth.
And some of them are away as well, so they're not on this side of the world.
I see the one that went out to meet the Russian ship was a T-42, a T-42. That's a very old ship, because they should have all been replaced by now by T-45s, which are very modern ships. In fact, the most modern warships in the world are the T-45s. But when the Navy agreed to let the T-42 fleet be scrapped, they were going to get a one-to-one replacement, so they were due 12 T-45s. Yeah. Guess what? Successive governments said, well, you can have 8 now, not 12, and now you can have 6. Right. We only got 6.
So now it's down to 6.
Now, I mean, it is true.
Shocking state of affairs.
It is true to say that a modern T-45 ship could do the work of probably 3 old ships, in the sense that it's got many more missiles, the speed of the missiles, the accuracy. Yeah. One of those ships parked in Portsmouth Harbour could take a tennis ball out that was being played above Flushing Meadow in New York.
Really?
Yes.
That's quite impressive, isn't it?
It's absolutely impressive. And so what you have to say is...
Presumably the Russians have got all the same stuff, though, haven't they?
No, not as advanced as this. No? Not as advanced as this. That's what the Americans are very worried.
What do your naval experts say?
Well, the Americans are very worried that what the Russians are doing is trying to find out exactly what the T-45s has got. Right. Trying to lure them out of port and want to know just how much... technology they can draw from the ships by getting alongside them. You see what I mean? Whether or not there are submarines underneath them, although they would detect them and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the point of my story
is... It's all a bit of a game, isn't it, for Putin?
It is all a game. He wants a Cold War again because he thinks that Russia was emasculated when the Cold War ended and made a second-rate nation. Right. He always saw Russia as a great nation. But what I'm saying is that in... the old days when we had to send... do you know how many ships we sent in the Armada, not the fleet, the convoy that went down to the Falklands last time?
It was probably several dozen, wasn't it?
32. Yeah, 32 ships altogether. Right. We haven't got 32 ships now. No. We sent 2 aircraft carriers. We haven't got one aircraft carrier now.
Although not everything in the convoy was a military vessel, was it? They sent a few passenger ships.
They did. I agree. But what I'm saying is, basically, we just don't have enough ships to do it. But what a certain part of naval strategy will tell you is that one of these ships, the modern ships, can do the work of 3 old ships. So, for instance, it has been put to me, and I don't know whether this is entirely accurate or not.
Put to you by whom?
By a mate of mine from Portsmouth who knows about these things. It could be. I can't say.
Right.
I can't say, but this is what I'm saying.
Was this in one of the Wetherspoons?
No. This was actually in the Jolly Roger.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, but no, hang on. They're allowed to go for a drink in the off-duty time.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And
some old guy propping up the bar who claims to be, Rear Admiral so-and-so.
No, I can't tell his identity for obvious reasons.
Okay.
But apparently one of these ships could sit off the Falklands And every time an Argentinian plane took off on the mainland, it would just be taken out of the sky if it was in an aggressive fashion heading towards the Falklands.
Right.
So, remember in the old days...
since the price of oil's gone down, they seem to have cooled on the idea of taking over the Falklands, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But you remember in the old days, when I was certainly in my early 20s, that game appeared in pubs where all these little monsters were at the top, and you pressed a button to knock them out of the sky. Space Invaders.
Yeah,
that was
I was
the one.
very good at that.
Well,
In fact, that was the last video game I was really good at.
OK, well, what I'm saying is, it was described to me that that's exactly what these ships can do now. You know, if the Argentinian planes, which are not very good, although Putin is threatening to lend them some modern ones, but every time they would take off, if we were at war with Argentina over the Falklands, those planes wouldn't get more than about 2 or 3 miles from their base before they would be taken out by a missile.
Well, I've got some information for you here from
a
tweeter of ours who's tweeted out the 2 mics. Nick says this, and he's from Chepstow. It's a T-45's Aster-30 missiles have a range of 100 kilometres. They couldn't reach Flushing Meadow.
Well, I disagree with that because although you're talking about a certain type of missile, they have more than one type of missile.
Right, OK.
And
100 kilometres and 3,500 miles is quite a big difference.
Yes, of course it is, yeah, of course it is. But maybe he's not up to date with the technology.
Maybe not. Here's one from Mike who says, I thought Mr. Parry would love holidays. The potential to steal someone's air hostess wife sounds like his ideal thing to do.
I've only ever been out with one air hostess.
Have you?
And she flew on Air Seychelles when I went to the
Seychelles?
Air Seychelles, yeah.
When did you go to the Seychelles?
Oh, I don't know, about 10, 15 years ago, something
like
that.
What did you go there
for? I wanted to go to the Seychelles. And
on holiday?
Yeah, and find out what utter remoteness is all alike.
Right.
The Seychelles are 1,000 miles from nowhere.
Right.
Or
did you go on your own?
No, I went with a few friends.
It's another freebie then?
No. It was a fact-finding facility.
Really?
And,
a freebie?
And I went down there, and the girl...
Did you write about it afterwards?
Well, I did, yes.
So it was a freebie,
nice place.
So it was a freebie.
Well, you know...
So it was another one of these freebies that came into the office.
It's rather
normally you would hand them out.
Word.
You would normally hand them out to some comely wench that you fancied chatting up and saying, how would you like to go off to New York for a weekend, darling? Shopping trip. Here's a free trip on me. Because
I sent Kim Wilshire one of those.
Yeah, I know you did. And I've no names, no pactoral, right? But this one you thought was so good you'd nick it for yourself. There must have been somebody on the trip that you wanted to see.
What Kim didn't know was I was going on the same plane.
Yeah, I know.
Trip.
Why do you keep naming these people?
Well, you know, because it's all very innocent now.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. We are the 2 mics. This is Talk Sport. We're going to find out what's going to happen with Gareth Bale coming up next.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can. Talk Sport.
Live Talk Sport commentary night tonight of Paris Saint-Germain against Barcelona in the Champions League. I know that you always moan and groan about the fact that there's no English clubs left in Champions League.
Well, I do, yeah.
But, I mean, it's still fascinating to watch. Did you watch the game last night? Atletico Madrid against Real Madrid.
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because, I'm sorry, but unless there's an English team involved, I find it very, very difficult to get that sort of passionate
feeling
about
Gareth Bale?
About who I want to win. Yeah, Gareth Bale was playing, and he's having a rough time there, and he missed a golden opportunity in that game.
Well, it was a very good save, to be fair.
It was a good save, but, you know, the fans are very demanding, expect him to score it. Now, what I would say about PSG is that they have done exactly what Manchester City should have done in this country. Do you see what I mean? They have become a stellar European club by dint of the fact that they're still in the competition and Manchester City aren't.
Exactly right. I mean, they may not get any further, but they are making progress.
Absolutely.
And they are, I mean, even if they sometimes falter in the league, they end up usually winning it, don't they?
But you also get the feeling with PSG that they have the ambition to want to be amongst the best clubs in Europe, whereas Manchester City seem to be doubting themselves all the time. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a very strange thing because they're very good 2 clubs to compare, actually, and contrast.
Right, because they've been funded artificially.
Yeah, they have, and almost both at the same time as well, so you can watch their progress. But I, listening to our Philip Brown, the guy we were talking to just before 2 o'clock, who came on from Spain and was saying that Gareth Bale is a bit unsettled. From what he was saying, I wonder if Gareth Bale will come back to the Premier League if somebody decides to pay the money, like Manchester United, for example.
Well, that's the only club he could come back to. There's nobody else who could come back. He wouldn't come back to Arsenal for reasons that he left Spurs. Yeah. He wouldn't come back to Manchester City, I don't think, because that would be, in my view, a downward step from Real Madrid.
It would.
The stellar clubs in the world of football are Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, Bayern Munich.
Right.
So
not Everton then.
Well, of course not. I mean, don't be ridiculous.
Well,
why are you trying to taunt me like that?
I'm not trying to taunt you.
Yes, you are.
You were taunting the poor people from Bristol City earlier because you were saying that, they never won anything. It was going to be 100 years before we can dispense with Everton.
No.
But, you've got to admit that not every club can be as big as those ones you've just described.
And I accept that.
Right.
And I tell you what, sometimes, Mike, your fat-faced foolery, just annoys me, and I let
Get
it
on
go.
with your colouring.
But when you're trying to sort of deliberately poke me with a stick like that, it's pathetic.
I'm not trying to poke you with a stick. I'm just pointing out the error of your ways.
I tell you who I think is pathetic as well, and this occurred to me again today, right?
Yeah, go on.
This happens all the time. Now, down in Gothport, we've got a new W.H. Smith in the High Street, which I'm delighted about because we didn't have one. And it's open there. So I go in, and guess who I find? The usual bunch of miscreants that you get at every sort of W.H. Smith shop or any shop that sells newspapers and books.
Yeah.
It's the bums who stand there reading newspapers or books that they have no intention of buying.
Don't you think it's because they're waiting for their wife to finish doing whatever shopping she's doing?
No, they are scumbags.
Why? That's very harsh.
Because the reason that the newspaper industry is in massive decline is for two reasons. First, a lot of it's going online. But secondly, the bums who go into shops and then leaf through a paper, read the bits of it they want, then put it back.
Yeah.
So all their filthy germs from their filthy hands are on that paper.
Why do you take such exception to it?
Because they are bums. They either buy the paper, take it home and read it, or take it to the pub and read it or something, or they don't. But they shouldn't use it as a library. And it's the same with books as well. When I buy a book, right, I always buy it sixth down in the row of books. Because I don't want any germs from anybody.
One that's been leafed through.
Exactly, who's handled a book.
What was the last book you bought then?
The last book I bought was...
I think the last time I asked you this question, you said it was some kind of football annual.
It was. It was the Sky Annual Football Book, 2014-15. What are you laughing at?
Why did you buy that?
Well, I like to keep records. I've got every one since 1992.
Right, but I mean, I'm talking about a book to read. When was the last book?
1992 was the first year of the Premiership.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, but what was the last book you bought to actually read, though?
Well, I do read it. I read it all the time.
Well, it's not reading, is it? It's a series of statistics.
No, don't you remember as a kid when you got a football annual, you'd lock yourself away in your bedroom and read it 15 times and look at all the pictures of
but it's not
Bobby
like
Charlton
reading. It's not like reading a novel, is
Alex
it?
Young and Fred Pickering.
As you say, look at the pictures.
Yeah, and read everything in it.
Would you take it on a train and read it?
No. Why would I take it on a train and read it? I like looking out the window when I'm on train.
Do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I do. I love to see the whole of England flashing past, green fields.
Well, you're only coming in from Croydon.
No, you fool. If I'm on a long-range train from...
train.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Why are you laughing all the time?
I mean...
I went to Birmingham recently to set up our show in the theatre there.
Right.
And I have to say, I do enjoy...
You spent most of that time in the buffet car, didn't you?
I spent some time in the buffet car.
And the rest of it trying to figure out whether you should chat up that woman.
That was on the way back.
Yeah.
This
was
on the way
looking out the window that day.
No, that was on the way back from somewhere else, wasn't it?
No, I think it was on the way back from Birmingham.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, it could have been right. But I do like to see,
But what I'm saying is you wouldn't take
flashing
your
past
sort
my
of
window.
boys' annual football atlas on the train because people would think you're a bit of a simpleton.
Well, I don't read those these days anyway, although I've got a collection of them from 1974.
You said that was the last book you bought, though.
No, but that was this year's, 2014-15.
But you wouldn't take it on a train.
Well, I don't read books on trains.
Right.
People who read books on trains have got very empty lives.
Have they?
They've got nothing better to do than read a book instead of keeping up with what's going on in the world on their phone or their laptop or their
you like to look busy, is what you're saying.
Tab. No, they should be busy. They should be getting on with the world or read a newspaper. At least you get information.
Right.
You don't get information in a book. All you get in a book, right, is on your way to work for 25 minutes, right, if you're a commuter train.
Well, what if you're broadening your knowledge
you're not broadening
a great
your knowledge.
piece of literature?
You're not broadening your knowledge. You're
like some I don't know, I'm reading Oliver Twist or something like that.
That is not broadening your knowledge. You know, that is,
why not?
That's your cop-out in life. You are a loser.
Right.
And you're a loser because you're copping out and saying, right, I'm not going to think about impending work. I've got work. I arrive there in 25 minutes.
Well, you just told people it's a good idea to have a colouring book.
I should be mentally... Well, that's for in the evenings when you come home from work and you want to wind down and de-stress. But on the train, as you're going to work, you should be right on the ball. You should be checking things on your phone about what you've got to do today, what's happening in the world, leafing through like I am now, checking on the facts and the figures for the meeting that's coming up, finding out how much, you've got to pay for this, that and the rest and all that kind of stuff. That's what you should be doing. And the dumbbells who are reading books, like, for instance, a novel or something like that, in my view, have got a lousy job and a poor grasp of what life is all about and probably live in a modest home on a modest salary because they simply haven't grabbed life.
It's a bit of a
and
sweeping statement, isn't it?
No, I think it's probably a very good character analysis because I do have the ability
thought, for example,
to psychologically read
Have you never
people.
thought, for example, if you saw a young woman reading a book on a train,
yes,
that particularly if it was a longish train journey, that might be something that you could strike up a conversation about?
No, because if you start striking up conversations with women on trains, you will be branded a bit of a lech. And,
as you found out to your cost.
As I found out to my cost. And so I don't do that unless I'm trying to help somebody who's in trouble.
Right.
Incidentally,
by the way, none of it's going to matter because apparently there's an asteroid the size of the Albert Hall coming towards Earth in 2017.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is only 2 years away.
I saw that.
And so in the end, it won't really matter what plans you make because that'll be the end of it all.
Can I just point out to you?
Yeah, go on.
An asteroid the size of the Albert Hall is about 1,000th of the size of the asteroid which we believe wiped out dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well,
so,
that's encouraging then, isn't it?
Yeah, because an asteroid the size of the Albert Hall hit the Earth. To start off with, it's got a 66% chance of hitting water.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be too much of a problem there.
Well, it would if it hit the Thames just over there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there'd be a bit of a wave shock.
I think there'd be a bit more than a wave shock.
But the other thing I'm saying,
a few buildings down.
If an asteroid the size of the Albert Hall hit, for instance, even like Madrid, or Paris or London or New York, it wouldn't do that much damage.
Yeah, it would.
No, it wouldn't.
Of course it would.
It wouldn't. It's not big. It's not big enough. If you drop the Albert Hall on a major city
How about
of
this?
10 or 12 million people, it wouldn't do any damage.
A blow from a 40-metre asteroid could be disastrous, it says here.
I don't agree.
A meteor that exploded over the Russian city of Chelyabinsk in February 2013 injured 1,500 people, damaged over 7,000 buildings.
Yeah, but that's not much.
And it created a crater that was about 20 metres wide.
Yeah, well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, it didn't wipe out mankind, did it?
Well, no,
no, and the great scaremongers are trying to make out that this asteroid will swing round, suddenly launch into the Earth, and we'll all be gone.
Well, you spend most of your life scaremongering people about all sorts of things.
No, I don't. Listen, talking about. Why was I talking about showing gratitude just now?
I've no idea.
I like to help people.
You were having to go at people on trains. You read books.
Yes, that's right. And I said, but occasionally, if I think somebody needs help, I will approach them and say, "Can I help?" If you're having a problem with your pram getting on and off the train, I'll help you with your pram or something like that. That's what I like to do.
Very good of you.
Did you know that if you send or receive a thank you note, it keeps your heart in great shape. It keeps you healthier.
When was the last time you sent a thank you note?
About 3 weeks ago.
Really?
To my sister, when we had a family party, because what happened was on the same day, it was Mother's Day. And
I remember that, yeah.
And my younger sister's birthday.
Yeah.
So the following day, I went and bought her a thank you card, and I wrote it out, said, dear Adji, thanks very much.
Very quaint.
Yeah. And sent her some flowers, and that gladdens my heart, gladden hers. It's the same the other way around. For instance, when
was the last time you got a thank you note then?
Well, funny enough, I get thank you notes all the time, seriously, for things that I do for people. But one that I particularly liked was when I bought your children a present.
That was ages ago.
Yeah, well,
it was last year, I think.
Oh, yeah, right.
I bought them only this year.
All right, but I got a very nice little thank you note from your children, so it shows they're very well brought up.
They are very well brought up,
Where I most object...
Was that when you bought them that plane that they had to share?
Yes, that's right, yes.
Yeah.
What I most object to is buying presents for people's children and then never even getting acknowledgement. Not an email, not a phone call, not a note, not a letter. All I get is on one occasion, I got a kind of, it was okay, but I expected much, much more.
Really?
Yes.
That's shocking, isn't it?
It is shocking.
That is bad.
And rather upset me.
Well, that tells you that people are not brought up properly.
Rather upset
I must say, I do agree with you that old-fashioned manners are very good.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the last time I sent a thank you card to anyone.
When did you last get one?
Can't remember.
Because you don't do anything for people.
Well, I mean, if you ever wrote me one, that would be nice, but you'd never see...
What would I write you one for?
Well, because I'm always doing things to help you out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you very much indeed for, being a real nuisance on the show last night. But I, through my superior intellect and my greater ability to research things, we got through.
Thank you very much indeed. He is Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. Coming up next, it's time for Ask Porky.
Yes.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
Help, I need someone. Help. When I was younger, so much
This is it, folks. It's time for Ask Porky, the man with the answer to almost any question you can throw at him, and with a slight wrinkle tonight, Mr. Parry, because Ben Fletcher has stayed in the studio with us because, as you may or may not know, he's getting married at the weekend.
He certainly is.
And I thought, what better opportunity for him as to start off on his new route of married life than to perhaps take the opportunity to ask you a question about something that you might be worrying about. Ben, would you like to fire us away with Ask Porky?
Absolutely, Mr. Parry, somebody I've looked up to for many, many years.
That's
Porky,
very kind of you, thank you.
As you know, I'm soon about to enter into married life, and my attention...
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. My attention will turn to making sure my money stays my money and doesn't end up being frittered away on frivolous ideas like central heating and new clothes. Yeah. As someone who is so very careful with your wealth... but obviously careful with your wealth, I wonder if you can offer me some advice as to how I can be careful with mine.
Well, I take the word careful with my wealth.
Don't introduce your wife to him, that's the first thing.
Yeah, as you trying to make out that I'm mean, which is incredibly... Even old MG here will say that's not true.
That's not true.
That is not true.
I don't think he was saying that. I think he was just admiring the fact that you've been able to amass a great deal of wealth.
I think you put him up to it as well.
Absolute
and if it wasn't you, it was our technical expert behind the glass there.
Absolute what? You mean the executive producer?
Yeah, the executive producer, the one who wears the daft Porky Pie hat so we can all laugh at him, when we've got nothing better to do. And what I have to say is, Ben, that married life is a great thing, OK?
How would you know?
Because I rejected it a few times.
Slept with so many married women.
No, you fool. What I'm saying is, as long as you put your wife first, you'll have a great life, OK? And that includes money as well. Always think to yourself, when you've got the last £10 in your pocket, do I go down the pub and buy 5 pints of beer at £2 in a Wetherspoons, where it's very cheap, and go home with a slightly rumbustious feeling in my head? Or do I give it to my wife and say, there you are, darling, get yourself some flowers and a box of chocolates? I would do the latter, because I'm a gentleman.
What, you give her the money for them?
Well, yeah. Because, you don't always got time to do it yourself, have you? And anyway, I don't know what sort of flower she likes. So you might buy tulips and she actually wants lilies or something like that, OK? All I'm saying is put your wife first all the time. You will have a very, very happy marriage. So many men don't. And that's why marriage collapses. They use their wives as chattels rather than partners in life. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes somebody comes between them, as it were. And there are 3 of them in the marriage, and then it all goes haywire.
Don't even start getting onto that smutty little area of life which you know so much about. The other thing I would say is that if you can find...
You've seen the time, by the way. We've got a lot of questions
If you can find the life print of the way old MG here, Mike Graham, conducted his marriage and do exactly the opposite, you will have a long and fruitful marriage, believe me. This man's the most disgraceful husband there's ever been. The most disgraceful.
I think there have been a few worse, actually. Henry VIII wasn't that great.
When they, just to remind you, when they went to the Marriage Guidance Council and the counsellor said...
Excuse me, this is not about me. This is about questions to you.
Says, have you strayed in your marriage, Mr Graham? He said, yes, I have. And you've got to be absolutely honest, was it more than once? He said, there have been 6 women that I've been unfaithful to. Yes, you did.
Rubbish.
You said 6.
Anyway, Ben, many happy returns on your wedding.
Indeed.
And may it all go well. As I say, keep Porky well away from the reception, because that'll cost you a fortune if he turns up. And secondly, don't ever introduce your wife to him, because he'll try and nick her.
Very kind, thank you.
Here's one question. Thank you very much indeed. Tim has sent this in at the 2 mics. He says, my wife used to work for the Daily Express. Right. She refuses to answer any questions about her male friends there. Should I pursue this?
No, I wouldn't pursue it at all. A lot of dilly-dallying went on there. In fact, we knew one friend there who subsequently went on to become the editor of a newspaper in Scotland called Chris somebody. And he used to go around...
I don't think we should give any more names out.
No, we won't give any more names out. But he used to go around really kidnapping his female feature writers, taking them into quiet areas of the building and having sexual relations with them on the quiet in corridors and locked bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. It was. So all I'm saying is...
So he shouldn't pursue it, is the straight answer.
No, don't pursue it, because you might find... I mean, she's probably given it up now, but it was a very, very sort of vibrant...
Sordid.
It was a vibrant sort of atmosphere.
Sordid. Here's one from Vaughan. He says, I've got a bee or a wasp nest in the cavity of my walls, and I need to keep all the vents shut. There's millions of them. Now what?
Well, you get in a guy who goes around slaughtering bees and things. No, you do.
Bee slaughterer.
Yeah, and get them slaughtered. Because although
sounds a bit drastic.
Although I recently rescued a bee that was dying on...
you don't mind slaughtering thousands of them.
On Resurrection Day, but if you've got children or something like that, they're a danger to your household.
Yeah.
If I were you, I'd get in the exterminator, and I mean it, and drill a hole in the wall and then pump in all that gas, which will kill them, and then get them sorted out.
That might be dangerous for the children if they start gassing
get the gas out, get the children out of the house first and get the gas in. Seriously, or set fire to them, because that's what I would do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, here's one from Roy, who says, my wife's due back from Venezuela any day now. I'm converting a garage to live in. It's not done. What's most important to finish, the bathroom or the kitchen?
I would finish the bathroom first, because then you can have a bath or a shower and you can go out and get takeaway food. But if you finish the kitchen without the bathroom, you can't find yourself going south in your social relations with other people.
Here's one from Dan, and this is rather good. Philosophical question, this for you, Mr. Parry. What is your biggest strength and your biggest weakness?
My biggest strength is my big heart. It's a broken, weak heart.
Only a
physically.
third of it works, though.
Yeah, only a third of it works physically.
Big, then, is it?
Physically, but in terms of my generosity of spirit to my fellow man is enormous, too enormous. I give too much away. I give too much of myself. I'm too understanding of other people. And what was the other question?
Hey, well, what's your biggest weakness?
Oh, my weakness. Well, that's my weakness. That is my weakness. I'm too generous.
What's your biggest strength then?
My biggest strength. That's the same. It's the same in the sense that I like doing it because it makes me feel good. So it's a bit selfish, really. You've got to look after those who you feel are also needing of looking after. That is my strength. That is my strength, definitely.
I've completely lost the plot of your answer.
No, it's my strength.
Right.
My other strength is that I like to lead from the front, and I always do. It sometimes gets me into trouble because I believe that I can solve a problem other people can't.
This tells us more about you than we need to know. Your biggest strength in all areas is also your biggest weakness.
No.
Isn't that funny?
No, I'm not sure. Well, it could be. Could be.
Now, here's one from Man City Army is the Twitter handle. Yesterday at work, I met this lass who's new to the place. I instantly liked her, but she's already got a boyfriend. Should I still go for it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look, you've got to look at it in life like this. If there is a business going on in your town and you have an idea to start a rival business, as long as you run it better, you will succeed and you will force the other business to close down.
Well, this is not a business we're talking about. This is affairs of the heart.
I was about to make the simile to relationships.
Oh, yeah.
If there's a woman going around who's got a partner in life, but you fancy her so much you feel, I want that woman for myself, you have got to impress her that you are a better option than her current beau or partner or whoever is going out with her, and impress yourself upon her by being more gentlemanly, more generous, more mature, more giving of the relationship, and more impressive.
More underhand, by the sounds of it.
No, and more impressive in the way you run your lives. The reason why youngish women are attracted to wealthy men, sometimes older than themselves, is not because they've got a lot of money, but because of the character they have in themselves to be able to make their fortunes.
I see. OK, here's one from Becky over in New Zealand. She says, my friend's idea of cooking is to boil everything. How do I expand his culinary skills to cook classics like goat fennel?
Well, I wouldn't eat goat fennel. What is goat fennel? Cheese?
Eh?
Cheese, is it?
No, it's goat.
Oh, no. But I mean, what's fennel mean?
Well, it's fennel, actually.
Fennel. What's fennel?
Well, it's a vegetable.
Oh no, I don't know about that. What I would say is that old MG's attempt to mock my culinary skills by saying I boil everything. I don't know how else you deal with vegetables. If you've got cauliflower, you boil it. You've got cabbage, you boil it. You've got sprouts, you boil it. If you've got potatoes and you don't want to roast them, you boil them. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
No,
and in fact, your derisive mockery. No, it's not pedestrian at all. It's the way that we eat traditional Sunday dinners in this country is with roast meat and boiled vegetables, like potatoes and all the ones I've just mentioned. I would say get on with it. Boiling is best.
Is it? Here's one from Fezzi. It says, if you see a homeless person shoplifting in Argos, should you report him to the staff?
Without a shadow of a doubt, you should, because it's the broken window syndrome. Once a pane of glass is broken in the window, you don't get it repaired, the building becomes a wreck, because then every other window will get broken. If you turn a blind eye to petty thievery, the homeless bum who's committing the crime will think that he has a badge of pass on me when I'm thieving because I'm homeless, and that will spread like wildfire through community. Similarly, don't ever give any money to a person sitting on the street wrapped in a blanket with a sign which says homeless and hungry. A, I don't believe they're homeless, and B, they're certainly not hungry in this country. You cannot go hungry in this country.
Here's one from James. He says, has Mr. Parry offered his mate Piers Morgan tickets to the show in Portsmouth?
The answer to that is no, but I'd certainly wouldn't balk at it.
And he's hosting Good Morning Britain this week.
Has he been doing that?
Yeah.
Has he been doing it well?
Yeah, well, I think I saw it yesterday. I think he was doing it right, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Who with?
Him and Suzanne Reid.
Suzanne Reid, yes, I know Suzanne Reid, yeah. All I would say is Piers, of course, as a great former colleague from the great years of Fleet Street, great days of Fleet Street, is welcome to any show at which the two Mikes are performing on stage. We will offer the welcome mat to Piers at
you're saying
any
you're giving him
theatre.
free tickets?
We'll give him a couple of free tickets.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you can give him a free ticket if you like.
Oh, you're not going to?
No, I don't see why he shouldn't.
Oh,
why shouldn't he pay?
I'll tell him that
Not
next time I see him.
it.
No, I'll tell him that next time I see him. That miserly bum, Mike Graham.
You've got my name now, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, yeah. Didn't want to extend you a free ticket.
No,
right,
we're nearly out of time. We've got time to squeeze in 3 quick more questions.
Okay.
Phil says, can you ask Porky what is the favoured way to paddle my dinghy across open water?
With a paddle, of course, you fool. You sit in the middle of the dinghy and you stroke first to the right and then to the left. If you keep stroking to the right, not to the left, you go around in circles. So it's a pretty specialist technique.
Pretty straightforward. Here's one from Paul, who says, how many bottles of wine can you drink before you fall over?
About 3.
3?
Yeah.
Is that all?
Well, you know, on a
Your
sort of normal
tolerance
evening,
level must be dropping.
After 3, I would sit down because
Yeah.
I'd probably be having lunch or dinner or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend anybody to drink 3 bottles of wine, by the way, unless they are an experienced imbiber.
No, very good advice. Well, maybe we squeeze in 2 more. Here's one from Paul, who says, I need to raise £700 for a new liver ASAP. Does Mike Parry know anyone who may donate the full amount?
No, I don't, because you can't get a liver for £700 anyway. I once researched the idea of going to America to get a new heart.
Yeah.
It was going to cost me $1 million.
Did you not once give a cheque to a woman for a new liver because you thought that she needed one for some of her relatives or something?
Oh, I gave a donation. Yeah,
Right.
I did, actually, yeah. In fact, that was about £700, you're right. But that in itself won't buy a liver. What you do is you start a charity, register it, and you ask people to give to you. But I am very, very, very reluctant to give to anybody who comes into a pub with a little can and a picture
you're not
of
that
it.
reluctant. You gave that woman a cheque.
Yeah, and with a little picture of it saying, oh, you know, I'm collecting for my nephew. He needs, like, you know, a new hip or something like that. I never give to people in pubs like that.
They'd be very old if their nephew needed a new hip.
Exactly.
Finally, from Bob, who's going to win the Champions League?
Champions League victors, in my view, Real Madrid will be the first team to win the Champions League back-to-back.
Really?
Yes.
That is quite a bold premonition there. Mr. Parry, thank you very much indeed. We'll have another edition of Ask Porky coming up same time next week. Tomorrow night, of course, it's Porky Vision. And then on Thursday night, it's the quiz. This time it's going to be on Napoleon Bonaparte, which is the specialist subject Mr. Parry has requested.
Absolutely.
Loads more coming up next on TalkSport.
Good.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk.
Of course, Percy Sledge, who died.
Percy Sledge just died.
He died aged 74.
Isn't that terrible?
Yesterday, and you know that was his biggest hit, right? It reached
his
the top
only
10
hit, wasn't it?
Twice in the UK, topped the US Billboard chart for 2 weeks in 1966.
It was his only hit.
Yeah, but it was not only that, but he signed away the rights to it as well.
No, did he write it?
Yeah, he wrote it. Yeah, apparently he said when he was recording the song, he basically decided that he would sign away the rights to the song to Calvin Lewis and Andrew Wright because he didn't know any better. He said, I had the melody in my mind, so I gave that song to them. And
How old was he?
He was very, very young. I mean, it was 1966 we're talking about.
66. Now, he's just died and he's 74.
Yeah.
So, hang on, that's 14
So
years.
in his 20s, wouldn't he?
In his 20s, yeah, that's right, yeah. Blimey, that's amazing. But, you know, you get some of these guys who make one record and they're famous for the rest of their lives and they don't need to do anything else. I was coming back from somewhere the other day on the motorway in the old Merc and I got bored with speech radio, so I turned on to Smooth, right? And the record came on, what are they called? The Everly Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
You never close your eyes anymore when your lips touch mine.
When I kiss your lips, I think it's a proper lyric, actually.
There's
don't sing all of it.
Tenderness.
Don't sing all of it.
No, but it's got a fantastic resonance, hasn't it? Was that the Everly Brothers?
That was, I think, yeah.
And that's the only record they ever made, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, they made loads of records.
No,
but, I mean,
that's the only one anybody remembers.
Well, it's the only one you remember, but actually they did an awful lot
name
of
me
stuff.
another one then.
Well, I can't name you another one off the top of my head.
Of course you can't, because you don't know another one.
Well, I can't name you the
see,
title
you're always
of that one
putting me
either.
down and saying you're wrong, but I'm not wrong.
Well, you are wrong.
It's just your empty-headedness
No,
that
the
gets in the
Everly
way.
Brothers had a whole host of hits, but Percy Sledge
Name
certainly...
one. Name one.
Well, I can't name one off the top of my head.
Of course you can't, because you don't know one.
Well, I don't know, because I don't have an
because you're a dope.
encyclopedic mind. But what I do know... But what I do know is that you could probably look up the Everly Brothers.
Well, I don't want to look them up. I'm saying...
And find any number of songs that would actually then resonate with you.
The question was, Everly Brothers songs which come instantly to mind. Only one. You never close your eyes.
And what's that one called?
Anymore. Baby,
you've lost that loving feeling.
You've lost that.
Yeah, I don't mean. Can you please sing the title?
Feeling. It's a great record, though. It, in fact, stars in my favourite ever film, doesn't it?
That's the only reason you know it.
Yeah, Top Gun.
Yeah, and that's the only Everly Brothers song in Top Gun. Therefore, you think it's the only Everly Brothers song ever.
And that's Tom Cruise. OK, ladies.
One of the worst films ever made.
Leave this to me, and then they do it. They do it well as well because they're all clicking their fingers, aren't they? Da da da.
Anyway, all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do. That's Grease you're doing.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
Summer Loving.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
All I wanted to do was mark the fact that, unfortunately, Percy Sledge has died.
Well, that's very sad.
And it is one of those great songs, right?
I totally agree. And great songs.
And it was re-released and became a hit in 1991 when it was covered by somebody else. Do you remember who covered it?
What's it called? The song again? It's gone out of my head.
Well, we only just played it.
Yeah, what was it?
When a man loves a woman.
When a man loves a woman. When a man...
Don't sing it.
I'm just trying to get it in my head. Hang on.
Tell me who...
When a man loves a woman...
Don't do that, because then he starts singing along with it.
Yeah, hang on. Is this Percy's version?
Who re-recorded it?
It was a woman.
Eh?
It was a woman.
It wasn't a woman, no.
Right, OK, it's a man. Scott, because of the Bolton thing, you know, I was associated with...
because his name's Bolton?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Well, I don't know why. It was just some sort of psychological bridge in my head.
Yeah.
You know, Michael Bolton, I've never heard him... Did Michael Bolton ever make an original song?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
No, he just sung other people's songs all the time,
Well, he did that, but a lot of people do that.
No, not real singing to me. Listen, I found out something amazing.
Have you?
Do they sell records in pound shops?
They do sell CDs.
Talking about records?
I'm talking about CDs rather than records. I've never seen an actual vinyl. Do you mean a vinyl record?
No. I mean, the reason is to get the link to old Percy Sledge.
Yeah.
Now that Percy Sledge has died,
right,
what will happen is a rash of old Percy Sledge records will come out, right? Now, the place that the middle classes will go to get them now is the pound shops.
Well, possibly.
Poundland has become posh land, OK? Cut price high street stores offering...
Says who?
I'm going to tell you.
Says who?
You listen,
Well,
will you?
says who?
I've done some research on this.
Who's saying this?
And I'm going to tell you in a minute. Don't be impatient. This is the benefit of our millions of listeners. Poundland has become poshland. Cut-price high street stores offering everything for £1 or less have become a magnet for wealthier shoppers. New research reveals that more than half of the people who have visited a branch of a variety discounter, such as 99p stores, Pound Stretcher or B&M... B&M is the one run by...
B&M?
B&M.
I've never heard of that.
It's a discount store, and it's run by Sir Terence Leahy.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the former chief
Tesco
executive
guy.
of Tesco. He built Tesco
He's
up
an
into...
Everton fan as well,
Yes,
isn't
he is. I've sat next to him in the director's box there. He built Tesco up into the biggest retailers in the world after Walmart.
Right.
And
Walmart?
Yeah.
Do you mean Walmart?
Walmart, yeah. And...
Well, Asda. They own Asda, you know, Walmart.
Honest to God, your idiocy reaches high levels at this time of the morning.
There's a lot of people ringing in to tell you about the Everly Brothers, by the way.
Oh, good. I'd like to hear about it. What are they going to tell us?
Well, I don't know. We're probably going to correct you, I should imagine.
Yeah, OK. Now, it goes on to say 57% of adults in the UK now use a discount store every week, and of those, 53% were in the top AB social class. Huge increase on 37% a year ago.
Right.
So I told you, you mocked me.
Well, no,
for going
I went to a pound
stretches.
store and I found that DVD that you made. Do you remember that TalkSport quiz that you didn't remember making?
Yeah, well,
right.
You know,
and they can still buy it. They've still got it there.
I've been in a lot of recording studios in my life.
Anyway, look, you've been in a lot of recording studios, but you haven't imbibed any knowledge from them at all. Let's talk to Lee, who's in Scarborough. Hello, Lee.
Hi there. Hi.
Yeah, hi. What would you like to tell us, Lee?
Okay, now, what's your mate's name again?
What, Mike?
Same as his name, Mike.
There's two Mikes. It's easy to remember.
Mike, okay, now, Mike, listen to me, Mike.
Which Mike are you talking to?
The guy that was doing the very poor rendition on karaoke.
Oh, yeah, that's Porky, yeah.
Okay, right, off you go.
Yeah.
Okay, now, listen, are you sure that is the only song that the Righteous Brothers had a
The Righteous Brothers? He said it was the Everly Brothers.
Yeah, sorry, the Everly Brothers.
Yeah, I'm dead certain it was the only song they made that got to number one.
Unchained Melody actually got to number one as well.
Unchained Melody, there you go.
Yeah, but that wasn't theirs.
Let's talk to David, who's in Australia. Hello, David.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. What would you like to tell us?
Well, exactly the same thing. The Everly Brothers.
Yeah.
People that duetted with Cliff Richard. It was the Righteous Brothers.
Right.
Oh, it was the Righteous Brothers.
I told you it was the Righteous Brothers.
No, you said it was the Everly Brothers.
I told you it was the Righteous Brothers.
No, you didn't.
You were the one that came out with the Everly Brothers.
No, David, you're absolutely right. This oaf sitting next to me got it completely wrong. It was the Righteous Brothers. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, and
you play the tapes back, Barry.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't know how to do that. David, thanks very much indeed for your call.
We will. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed for that terrific response to my imparting knowledge for you.
Here's one from Jackie. One of your admirers, who says, tell Mike Parry boiling is the worst way to cook vegetables. Steam them. Is he a bunny boiler as well?
No, I'm not a bunny boiler. And anyway, you can't steam vegetables unless you've got a special, steam pan.
A steamer, it's called.
No, it's
called a steamer.
Pan. My mum used
called a steamer.
My mum used to have a pressure cooker.
Yeah, my mother did as well. And soup in it.
And what you did is you sort of bolted it together, literally.
Your head in it.
You used to bolt it together, literally, and then you put it on the cooker. And then the reason that when you knew the vegetables were being done was because there was a whistle on the top.
Yeah.
And the steam used to come out, and it used to go... Well, I can't whistle, but it just goes...
Well, I presume when you know when the vegetables are done because all the water's gone out of the pan and they're all limp and horrible.
Well, do you know
colourless.
What? Do you know what? If I get distracted on the phone sometimes when I'm doing the sprouts, they make the most awful mess in the pan. When it's boiled it dry...
You boil them dry?
Boil them dry. Well, I don't mean to.
God.
All the water goes out and then it starts burning all the leaves on the edge of the sprouts, which then stick to a non-stick pan. I have to spend an hour cleaning the pan afterwards.
Well, get a steamer.
And to be able to eat them, I have to weld them out the pan with a wooden spoon. And then cut them in half.
Well, they taste great after that.
And throw away the burnt bits.
Well, you just throw the lot in the bin if I were you.
Well, you have to try and rescue something out of it, otherwise it's a waste of food.
Here's one from Phil. It's the Righteous Brothers, not the Everly Brothers. Porky's knowledge is dwindling by the second. Shame on you,
I never said it was the Everly. You said it was the Everly.
No, I didn't. Jackie says the Everly Brothers. What about Bye Bye Love, Wake Up Little Susie, Kathy's Clown and many more?
But we weren't talking about
Porky
them.
Can't sing. You said you couldn't name another Everly Brothers song.
No, I meant I couldn't name another song by the group that sung...
well, the Righteous Brothers. What about Unchained Melody?
You've lost your loving feeling.
Well, what about Unchained Melody?
We were talking about the Righteous Brothers. You got it wrong. You talked about the Everly Brothers. It's no wonder that millions of our listeners worldwide were outraged to say that we could not name any hits of the Everly Brothers.
Well, Bill says
they were
Porky,
the inspiration for the Beatles,
Porky,
the Everly
you're
Brothers.
A tube. That's the bloody Righteous Brothers, not the Everly Brothers.
Yeah, well, it's the Righteous Brothers who only ever had one hit. They were one-hit wonders.
They had Unchained Melody as well.
Along with... No, they didn't. That was the Everly Brothers.
No, it's the Righteous Brothers.
It wasn't, Mike. You've got yourself...
No, I haven't.
All over the place now.
I haven't.
The Righteous Brothers did not sing Unchained Melody. That was the Everly Brothers. Yeah. Just get that right.
What about All I Have to Do Is Dream? Who was that by?
That was the Everly Brothers.
Right.
Dream.
Well, you said you couldn't name another song by them.
No, I didn't,
yes, you did.
You idiot. I said I couldn't name another song by the two brothers who sung You've Lost That Love and Feeling, which was the Righteous Brothers. You misled me.
I think you got it all wrong. No. And we were only supposed to be talking about Percy Sledge anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what about Gareth Bale? Because I wanted to ask you about that. Gareth Bale, will he come back or will he not come back?
Well, I don't think he'll come back this summer because I think he'll stay with a very successful Real Madrid side who I think are going to win the Champions League anyway. They've got to win the Champions League, really, haven't they? Because they're not going to win the league in Spain, are they?
Real Madrid. Well, it doesn't look like it, does it?
It looks like Barcelona going to win. So I think that's a must for them, and I think that's what will happen. Also, he'll only come back if he thinks he's coming back to a Manchester United side which are going to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
And
well, they might do if he comes back, mightn't they?
Well, hang on, and compete for the Champions League. United will not be in that position this summer to say we can guarantee you a Premier League title.
No,
but they might be. It might be the summer after.
Yeah.
It might be the summer after.
That's very, very true.
I think Louis van Gaal has done quite a good job.
Well, he has.
In retrospect, now, when we look at the way the season's unfolded.
And people will have to admit that, I suppose, in the end. Although, some might say better by luck than by judgment, because it all kind of started to happen for him when Van Persie got injured and he had to start playing Rooney up front.
I tell you what I think also people are overlooking is the contribution which David Moyes made to the current Manchester United team. Because, do you remember, the only transfer he could get going, because he started so late in the summer with Manchester United, was Marouane Fellaini.
That's right.
Everybody mocked him roundly.
Loves him. Everybody
mocked him roundly and said, it was a panic buy, he's not up to it, he's not good enough. In fact, he's turning out to be their best player. So, well done, David Moyes, in terms of how the United fans should respond to him.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. So I'd like you to...
baby, we're out of time.
Yeah. I'm going to have to ban you from singing altogether soon because we get a lot of complaints from people who try to go to sleep.
I totally disagree. The audience love to hear a song
No, they don't.
Or a
they
bit
really
of a song.
Don't. No, they certainly don't. It's coming up to 4 o'clock. Mr. Parry will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock, of course, when it will be Porky Vision. You're going to look at Game of Thrones, I'm told, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I made a bit of a mistake.
Well, all right. Well, you can explain that tomorrow because there isn't time now.
Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne podcast from the two mics. Look at the light!
Well, what would you describe as middle-aged? 70.
Yeah, I was trying to find a cure for hay fever. Yeah, and I came up with this guy who's clearly a nutter.
Well, clearly you want to put some industrial strength bleach up your backside and that'll sort you out. You won't be worried about having hay fever for the rest of your life.
You probably wouldn't, mate.